The absolute biggest reason that I see entrepreneurs getting stuck, not being able to step away from the business, not growing to the level that they want, is that they don't have a good understanding of their time. Now, as entrepreneurs, we know that we need to track our money, right? We have our financial documents, we look at our revenue, we look at our expenses, and then we use that to make better decisions the next month. But when it comes to our time, most of us just have a general idea of where we're spending it. But your time is more expensive than your money because your time is what's helping you or not helping you to make that money. And so when we work with clients or when we're having them clockwork their businesses, they need to have a specific granular idea of where their time is actually going. And then we have them classify those activities by 4 different work types. The 4 different work types are different types of work that each activity might be. Our clients, they take a week. We do this too. We practice what we preach. But every single quarter, we track our time for about 5 days. Now, 3 days is better than none, and 2 days is better than none, but 5 days is kind of ideal of the amount of data that we would like to see in order to start shifting your time to be more valuable or to allow you to start stepping away and making sure the business can still run and grow without you. Once we've tracked that time, we've got it written down, we've got our activities written down, we want to classify those activities by work type. We call this our 4D time analysis, right? There are 4 different work types. The first one is what we call the doing. That's when you're doing the work. You're the one making the sales calls, or you're the one writing the email marketing campaign, or you're the one posting on social media, or you're the one delivering services to a client or speaking with a client or physically making a product. You are doing the doing. And doing is important for a business, but we want to make sure that you are doing the doing and in the proportions. We got to track, what are you still doing in the business? Okay. The second work type is what we call the deciding. Now, this is one that you may not have heard before because we coined it for the book, but deciding is when you assign a task to someone else. And what that means is when you assign a task to someone else, you still own the decisions. Once they finish that task, or maybe they can't even finish that task because they're like, Adrienne, do you want it done this way or that way? Do you want it done in red or black? What should I do next? Or how would you like this done? Or can you approve this for me? Or do you got a minute? I need you to take a look at this. There are tons of decisions that are plaguing you as a small business owner all day long. And that is because your team members are stuck in this deciding phase where they can do some of the work, but they can't fully bring it to completion because they're still need to involve you to make final decisions. So what tends to happen is we get stuck in this cycle of we're doing everything, we're like maxed out, and we're like, I need to just bring on a team member. So hire someone, and then they start doing some things, taking some things off our plate. Then all day long, they ask us 407 questions. At the end of the day, we're exhausted because decision-making is the most neurologically taxing thing that we can do. And so now we've spent all day making decisions for someone else. And at the end of the day, we need to do our own work. At the end of the day, you're like, okay, I made all these decisions for you. You got some work done, but now I got to go get my most important work done. And so what happens is we end up going, it was just easier when I did it all myself. And we fire that person, we go back to doing everything. We have to elevate you and your team members into the third work type, which is what we call delegating. Now, you may have thought you were delegating, and now you've just realized you've been doing a lot of deciding. But delegating is when we assign an outcome to someone else. And that means that they own the decisions within that area of responsibility to get to that outcome. They're no longer needing to come to you to ask, what should I do next? Can you approve this? Can you review this? How do you want this done? What else are we working on? They are autonomous, right? And that takes time, and that's okay. The fourth work type is what we call the designing. Now, this is the creating of the future of your business. And this is where we want our CEOs and our visionaries to be spending a good chunk of their time. Because if you are not creating the future of your business, then who is? This usually ends up being the thing that small business owners have the least amount of time for, or just put on the back burner, or it gets scheduled over for lots of emergencies or fires or things that we have to do. And the strategy and the thinking and the designing of the next big $1 million idea tends to fall to the wayside. When we track our time, we want to identify how much time are we spending in the doing, how many of our activities are actually deciding for other people, how much time or activities are we spending delegating things to people so they can be more autonomous, and number 4, how much time are we actually spending in the designing, the strategy, the dreaming, the thinking that is actually going to propel our business into the future. We have a spreadsheet, a time tracking spreadsheet that we use with our clients. I'm going to show you real quick what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Have our clients write down their activities, when they started, when they finished, and then you can see here, they can use this drop down of like, oh, okay, this was doing, this was deciding, this was delegating, right? And you could even identify how much of your time is spent in doing, deciding, delegating, and designing. We'll get to this column in the next video, but for right now, I want you to go and get this spreadsheet. You can go to clockwork.com/time and sign up, and you'll get access to our spreadsheet so you can use it for yourself as you start to track your time. Now, these don't have to be consecutive days, but I want you to get some good data in there. My statistics professor in grad school, he always used to say, garbage in is garbage out. And so if you're not being specific with the data that you're putting into this spreadsheet, it's going to be hard for us to move it or transform it into something more valuable for your business. Take this with your financials. You're not just going to put marketing stuff and then $50,000, right? What does that mean? When you're doing your emails, identify what types of emails. Are these customer emails? Are these sales emails that I'm writing? Are they vendor emails? Like, be as specific as possible so that you can do something with this data. Said we'll give you that the access to that spreadsheet for free if you just go to runlikeclockwork.com/time. I would love to know, which of these do you think you're spending the most time on right now? Doing, deciding, delegating, designing, and which would you like to spend some more time on? Because I know for me, I want to be in design time.